This is a time that we love for families to get together and share the Word together and just really dig into it a little bit. This is designed especially for families, and so we hope that you'll be able to spend this little bit of time together sharing in the Word. So there's a show on PBS television called Downton Abbey that I'm sure that many of you adults watching this video have seen before. Now I'm a relative newcomer to the show. I just started watching it about a year ago, but I love it. It follows an English aristocratic family and their servants as all of them deal with life in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. That they each of them, the servants and the family, the aristocrats alike, they're struggling as they're forced to accept some of the new ways while trying to maintain what is truly valuable about the old ways of dealing with their lives. Now they fully value that who they are right now is based on who they were, on the ways, the language, the traditions, the customs passed down from generations past. And it's great fun to see the Dowager Countess of Grantham, Lady Violet, who's played by the wonderful, amazing Maggie Smith, snort snobbishly at the ways of her more modern counterpart, Isabel Crawley. And it was great fun when the American relatives came to visit Downton Abbey for us to see that clash of the old and the new. And it was somewhat poignant as we, the viewers, see that in many ways, they, the Americans and the British, were still much the same. And even the American characters themselves were able to understand just a little bit better who they are because they could see who they used to be. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is that a couple of weekends ago, Dr. Sandra Richter, who is an Old Testament seminary professor, spoke about how the Old Testament is not just an interesting history book that really has very little to do with Christianity. It's actually a really important part of who we are as Christians. It forms our identity. We know who we are because we can see who we were. We start out in a garden, and we end up in a garden. And everything in between is, according to the words of Dr. Richter, a huge rescue plan. And so we need to know those stories, and we need to see how God is revealing himself in those stories and understand how they were actually meant and understood back in the times they were being told in order to understand our own story. So now what I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is press pause on your computer, and you will see come up some scriptures to read, two very short ones, and then some questions for discussing with your family. And this is just a time that you can spend as much time as you want reading the scripture, talking about it, talking about what it means depending on the ages of your family members that are watching, and then share together the answering of the questions and just digging into it a little bit more to understand just a little bit more about what we're talking about, where we came from, and where we're going. And so now, if you would, just press pause. So now that you've had a chance to reflect a little, you can see that who we are today and how we understand the world around us, how we talk, how we look, cannot be fully understood without knowing our ancestral history. In the Downton Abbey series, the fictional Crawley family had lived in the same village, in the same mansion, passing down the same stories and traditions and their ways of doing life for generations. They had the advantage of a richness and a depth to their understanding of their identity. It's equally important to our understanding of our spiritual identity. So as you go, as you do more Bible reading, don't forget to focus on those Old Testament stories and understand God's final goal for us, which is, in the words of Dr. Richter, that the people of God might dwell in the place of God, enjoying the presence of God. Thank you.